श्री राजीव शुक्ला 8 मिनट्स।
धन्यवाद सभापति जी। सबसे पहले तो मैं आपको धन्यवाद दूंगा कि आपने इस आर्थिक मुद्दे पर इस सदन में बहस की अनुमति दी, जो कि एक बहुत ज़रूरी आज के वक्त में है। मैं कोई अर्थशास्त्री नहीं हूँ और ना अर्थशास्त्री की तरह बोलूँगा। मैं एक सामान्य व्यक्ति के जो समझ में आता है उसी आधार पर अपनी बात रखूँगा। मेरा अपना मानना है कि विदेश नीति और आर्थिक नीति, इन दोनों पर कोई भी सरकार आए, किसी भी पार्टी को समानता रहती है और रहनी चाहिए। यही अभी तक की परंपरा रही है। अगर 1991 में नरसिम्हा राव सरकार ने आर्थिक सुधार लागू किए थे, तो उसके बाद चाहे देवगौड़ा जी की सरकार हो, चाहे गुजराल साहब की सरकार हो, चाहे वाजपेयी जी की सरकार हो, अटल जी की, उन्होंने उसको पालन किया था। एक बार मैं पत्रकार के रूप में नरसिम्हा राव जी के साथ जो है स्पेन गया था और वो प्रधानमंत्री थे, उनकी प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस थी, तो वहाँ पत्रकारों ने ये प्रश्न उठाया कि आप तो ये आर्थिक सुधार लागू कर रहे हैं, आप सबको बता रहे हैं कि आप इंडिया में ये चेंजेज कर रहे हैं, रिफॉर्म्स ला रहे हैं, लेकिन कल आपकी सरकार नहीं रहेगी तो क्या होगा। तो उन्होंने बड़ा फेमस सेंटेंस वहाँ बोला था, द प्रोसेस ऑफ इकोनॉमिक रिफॉर्म्स इज इरिवर्सिबल। कोई भी सरकार आए इसको बदल सकती नहीं है। तो ये चीज़ जो है लगातार चलती रहनी चाहिए, ये नीतियाँ लगातार चलती रहनी चाहिए। मैं किसी की आलोचना या किसी की प्रशंसा की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ। और लेकिन कुछ प्रयोग पिछले 10 साल से हो रहे हैं जिसमें पिछली सरकारों की चीज़ों को अंडू करने की कोशिश हो रही है, उनको बदलने की कोशिश हो रही है। हमारे मित्र सुशील मोदी जी सम्मानित अभी बात कर रहे थे कि चुनाव के नतीजों से, जो चिदम्बरम साहब की बात का जवाब दे रहे थे कि उन्होंने कहा था कि ग्राउंड पे नहीं दिख रहा, तो उन्होंने चुनाव के नतीजों का हवाला दिया। सुशील जी, चुनाव के नतीजे 5 साल पहले क्या थे? तीनों राज्य हम जीते थे, राजस्थान, मध्य प्रदेश, छत्तीसगढ़, उसके बाद लोकसभा हार गए थे 5 महीने बाद। तो अगर उस दृष्टि से देखा जाए तो आपका ये तर्क कहीं बैठता नहीं है। इसलिए मुझे लगता है कि इस जो बहस को हम उसी गंभीरता से रखें जिस मुद्दे पर आर्थिक स्थिति की वो है, और उसकी हम शुरुआत इस चीज़ से करते हैं। और अगर इसके आंकड़ों का, इलेक्शन कमीशन का आंकड़े है, पूरे उसमें 4,81,00,000 वोट जो है भाजपा को मिला है और 4,91,00,000 कांग्रेस को मिला है, 10 लाख ज़्यादा। तो हम इसको अगर उस तरह से गणना करके देखेंगे तो फिर ये बात कहीं रही नहीं जाएगी कि, तो इसलिए जो है हम समझते हैं कि चेयरमैन साहब ने बहुत मतलब गंभीरता से इस विषय पे डिस्कशन के लिए रखा है, तो हम उसी पे जाते हैं। सबसे पहले पुराना गाना है कि जो वादा किया वो निभाना पड़ेगा, तो वादों पे जाते हैं। तो वादा नंबर 1 क्या था कि हम काला धन वापस लाएंगे। वापस तो आया नहीं, उल्टे जो मॉर्गन स्टैनली की रिपोर्ट है जिसको कोट किया था सुधांशु जी ने, 6 लाख उद्यमी जिनको एंटरप्रेन्योर बोलते हैं विदेश चले गए। यहाँ की 2 लाख ने तो नागरिकता सरेंडर कर दी भारत की। और उद्यमी जब जाता है तो सोचो कि वो लाखों लोगों का जो है, वो लाखों लोगों का के रोजगार को जो है छोड़ के जाता, जो भारत में मिल रहा था। वहाँ जाके उद्योग लगा रहे हैं, बाहर के लोगों को रोजगार मिल रहा है, और उसके अलावा जो है यहीं से पैसा जा रहा है। तो उल्टे जो पैसा 4 लाख करोड़ आना था, 10 से 15 लाख करोड़ के करीब पैसा बाहर जा चुका है देश का। ये गंभीर विषय है, इस पे मुझे लगता है वित्त मंत्री जी को सोचना चाहिए कितनी भारी संख्या में उद्यमी या एंटरप्रेन्योर्स देश छोड़ के क्यों जा रहे हैं और बाहर क्यों बस रहे हैं। तो ये उनको सोचने की बात है कि वो क्यों ऐसा हो रहा है। और ऐसा नहीं कि देशभक्त नहीं थे, देशभक्त थे। मॉर्गन स्टैनली के रुचि शर्मा ने 2016 में फिक्की की स्पीच में कहा था, 2016 में वार्निंग दी थी, तब मुश्किल से जो है 50,000 लोग गए थे कि क्यों भारतीय बिजनेसमैन, भारतीय इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट या एंटरप्रेन्योर्स देश छोड़ के क्यों जा रहे हैं, उनको रोको। तो ये चीज़ देखने की है कि क्या ये सरकारी एजेंसियों के ज़रूरत से ज़्यादा दबाव की वजह से जा रहे हैं या क्या वजह है, उनके साथ अन्याय हो रहे हैं, इसको समझने की आवश्यकता है। दूसरा वादा था 50 रुपये लीटर पेट्रोल, 40 रुपये डीजल, हमारी सरकार आएगी। आप कह रहे हो कम हो गया, मुझे तो कहीं कम नहीं दिखाई दे रहा। अब आप गणना बता रहे हो कि इस राज्य में 96 का, वहाँ 106 का, 50 और 40 रुपये का तो नहीं है जो पहले था कि 50 और 40 रुपये में बिकेगा डीजल पेट्रोल। वो वादा तो पूरी तरह गलत साबित हुआ। और ये तब मैं तो योजना मंत्री था, जो है ब्रेंट क्रूड की रिपोर्ट रोज आती थी। हमारे ज़माने में $115, $120 का जो है तेल मिलता था क्रूड ऑयल, और उसके बाद जो है हाँ हम 60 रुपये पे देते थे, लेकिन यहाँ पे तो बहुत सस्ता, यहाँ तक कि एक वक्त $22 पे पहुँच गया था इस सरकार में, और अभी भी 40, 50, 60 के अल्ले पल्ले रहता है, 80 के अल्ले पल्ले रहता है, पहले से बहुत कम है। फिर भी ये दाम क्यों बढ़ रहे हैं? तो इसको जो है हमें देखना चाहिए कि हम क्यों 100 के पार चला गया पेट्रोल, और डीजल भी उसी के करीब करीब पहुंचा। इसका आप जानते हैं कि सबसे ज़्यादा असर ट्रांसपोर्ट पर पड़ता है, और जब ट्रांसपोर्ट महंगा होता है, माने कि माल ढुलाई, तो हर चीज़ की कीमत बढ़ जाती है, और ये जनरल महंगाई को बढ़ाने में सबसे गजब इसका मतलब प्रभाव पड़ता है। और ये आप कहें कि चुनाव के पहले कम कर दो, चुनाव खत्म होते फिर बढ़ जाता, तो ये चुनाव से लिंक नहीं करना चाहिए। मुझे लगता है पेट्रोल डीजल के दाम जो हैं या क्रूड ऑयल के दाम के हिसाब से उसका फ़ायदा जनता को देना चाहिए। तीसरा वादा था कि 2022 तक हर किसी को पक्का मकान। क्या हुआ पक्का मकान हर किसी का? तीसरा वादा पूरा हुआ, और ये वादा तो लाल किले से दिया गया था, आज तक कोई पक्का मकान नहीं बना। चौथा वादा था डॉलर के मुकाबले रुपया। जब 50 हो गया था मनमोहन सिंह की सरकार में, तो इतना हंगामा हुआ था कि ये देश की इज्जत गिर गई, देश का अपमान हुआ है, रुपया कमज़ोर हो गया, मतलब देश, भारत देश का विश्व में अपमान हो गया। इतना हंगामा, वीडियो आप निकाल के देख लीजिए, क्या क्या नहीं कहा गया था। आज 80 से लेके 85 के बीच में डॉलर है, लेकिन कोई शब्द नहीं बोला जाता, कहीं किसी किस्म का देश का अपमान नहीं हो रहा। तो ये पांचवा वादा भी उसी तरह से, चौथा वादा भी उसी तरह से विफल हुआ। और पांचवा वादा 2 करोड़ रोजगार, जिस पर अन्य लोगों ने भी बोला है, तो अब तक जो है मेरे हिसाब से 20 करोड़ नौकरी मिल जानी चाहिए थी। लेकिन अगर आप देखें जो आंकड़े हमारे पास हैं, बेरोजगारी की दर जो 5% होती थी 2014 से पहले, वो 10.09, 10 मतलब 11% के करीब हो गई। ब्लूमबर्ग ने सेंट्रल फॉर मॉनेटरी इंडियन इकोनॉमी के हिसाब से 40 करोड़ लोग घरों में बैठे हैं, बिना नौकरी के 40 करोड़ लोग घरों में बैठे हैं जिनके पास नौकरियां नहीं, और क्वालिटी ऑफ जॉब तो बहुत ही कम है इसके हिसाब से। पिछले साल 1,70,00,000 लोगों ने सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट की नौकरी के लिए अप्लाई किया था, जिनमें से 38,850 को सिर्फ नौकरी मिली। इंजीनियर, जो पढ़ाई लिखाई में जो इंजीनियर हैं, बड़े बड़े उसमें किए हैं, वो सब जो है अप्लाई कर रहे हैं चपरासी की नौकरी, सफाई कर्मचारी की नौकरी। वही अगर अच्छी अर्थव्यवस्था होती तो पढ़े लिखे लोग ऑफिस में, फैक्ट्री में काम कर रहे होते, और उनको ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ती कि इस तरह की कोई चीज़ करते। आप देखो ना, 80 करोड़ लोगों को आप मुफ्त अनाज देना पड़ रहा, अच्छी बात है, हम इसका समर्थन करते हैं। लेकिन ये योजना, खाद्य सुरक्षा बिल, जयराम जी यहाँ बैठे हैं, मनमोहन सिंह सरकार लाए थे, और उस समय ये लागू हुआ, तो उसी प्रावधान की अच्छी बात है, हम इसमें कोई नहीं, नई सरकारें आती हैं देती, लेकिन जो है इसको चालू रखना चाहिए, देना चाहिए, गरीब को भोजन मिलना चाहिए। लेकिन ये नौबत क्यों आई, कि कभी सोचा? आज हालत ये है कि अगर वो बेचारा परेशान है, वो नौकरी करना चाहता है, लेकिन नौकरी नहीं है, वो नहीं मुफ्त अनाज लेना चाहता, वो अपमान के साथ नहीं जीना चाहता, लेकिन हम नौकरी नहीं दे पा रहे, हम रोजगार नहीं दे पा रहे, हम कुछ नहीं कर पा रहे, तो घर में बैठा मजबूरी में। आपने देखा कोरोना के वक्त लाखों लोग पैदल 800-800 किलोमीटर चल के गए, क्योंकि 4 घंटे का नोटिस दिया गया। अगर 2, 4, 5, 10 दिन का नोटिस होता, लोग ट्रेन से पहुंच जाते कैसे? और वो लौट के आए नहीं, कभी कोशिश नहीं कि उनको वापस ले आ जाए, वो गांव में बैठे। तो ये जो है हम देते हैं, अच्छी बात है, लेकिन हमें कम से कम उनको काम देना चाहिए। अगर 10,000 सरकारी नौकरी का अगर वो निकलता है वैकेंसी, तो 4-4 लाख लोग हो जाते हैं, लाठी चार्ज करनी पड़ती है। पुलिस में भर्ती का देख लीजिए, टीचर्स की भर्ती का देख लीजिए, कैसे लोग जो है लाठी चार्ज का सामना करना पड़ता है। तो ये चीज़ नहीं होनी चाहिए, और इस तरह के हमें रोजगार के अवसर पैदा करने चाहिए कि नौबत ना आए। छठा, महंगाई का सब ने बोला, डायरेक्ट ने भी बोला, सारे लोगों ने यहाँ पे बोला। कौन चीज़ सस्ती है बता दीजिए? न गेहूँ सस्ता, न चावल सस्ता, न तेल सस्ता, न नमक सस्ता, न चीनी सब्जी, न सब्जी दाल सस्ती, न सीमेंट सरिया, ईंट मकान, दही जलेबी तक सस्ती नहीं। तो क्या स्थिति है? जब कुछ सस्ता नहीं है, रेल का किराया तक बढ़ रहा, तो जो महंगाई दर है इसको काबू करने की आवश्यकता है, क्योंकि महंगाई जो है बहुत ज़बरदस्त बढ़ती चली जा रही। जो वादा था उसके मुकाबले महंगाई दर नहीं है। 7वां वादा स्वच्छ भारत था, बहुत अच्छी बात, हम सब लोग खुश रहे। 1-2 साल तो अच्छा चला, कई मंत्रियों ने झाड़ू लगाई, सड़कें साफ की, इधर किया उधर किया, खूब फोटो छपे। गांधी जी का चश्मा लगा के जगह जगह होर्डिंग पोस्टर लगे। आज कोई सफाई पे बात ही नहीं हो रही, जगह जगह कूड़े के ढेर हैं, जगह जगह पिए। और टॉयलेट एक प्रेम कथा इस तरह से फिल्म, जब भी कोई काम शुरू होता है सरकार में, पहले एक बॉलीवुड से फिल्म बनवा देते हैं, फिर वो फिल्म के जरिए जो है पूरा ही चलता है। और आज टॉयलेट्स की हालत देखो गांव-गांव में, भाजपा के हमारे सांसद बताते हैं कि किस इस तरह की स्थिति है सर। टॉयलेट्स की स्थिति जो है वो स्टोर बन गए हैं, गोदाम से बन गए, लोग उनमें कपड़ा सामान दूसरी चीज़ें रख रहे हैं, क्योंकि उनमें पानी का समुचित इंतजाम नहीं, उनको सफाई का इंतजाम नहीं, तो वो टॉयलेट सब बने बनाए पैसा बर्बाद, उनका कुछ हुआ नहीं। तो मेरा अनुरोध है सरकार से कि टॉयलेट्स की जो बुरी हाल है उसको भी देख के काम करें, है ना। 8वां सर, थोड़ा सा टाइम दे दी, 5 मिनट। 8वां अभी तो ये तो सर सिर्फ ये, अब तो मैं सुझाव दूंगा, अब कुछ सुझाव भी है ना सरकार में, तो पॉजिटिव डिस्कशन पे हूँ। 8वां वादा सबका साथ सबका विकास सर, सबका साथ सबका विकास 8वां वादा सर 10 वादे, फिर उसके बाद सुझाव 10 बहुत जल्दी खत्म हो जाएगा। तो 8वां वादा सबका साथ सबका विकास। जब मैं योजना मंत्री था तो मोदी जी हमारे माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी थे और वहाँ पे आते तो उन्होंने बहुत अच्छा एक प्रेजेंटेशन किया था योजना में, जिसमें कैसे राज्यों को बिना भेदभाव के केंद्र सरकार को मदद देनी चाहिए। किसी भी विपक्षी दल नहीं सकते सर, प्लीज किसी सरकार को जो है विपक्षी दलों के साथ भेदभाव नहीं होता। बहुत अच्छा प्रेजेंटेशन था। उसी के बाद फ्लैगशिप स्कीम में सर 20% का, मतलब जो 20% का फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी दी गई थी राज्य सरकारों, उन्हीं के सुझाव के आधार पर। लेकिन आज हम देख रहे हैं जो विपक्ष की सरकार है उनको न जीएसटी का पूरा एलोकेशन मिलता है, न अन्य सहायता नहीं मिलती, और उनके साथ तो सबका साथ सबका विकास कैसे होगा? अगर जो इस तरह से भेदभाव होगा तो बड़ा मुश्किल होगा। और यही नहीं, आपको अगर पता हो कि नवा वादा जीडीपी ग्रोथ हमारे ज़माने में 7.03 रही और 9 तक टच की थी, अब 5.25 है। हालांकि 6 का क्लेम कर रहे हैं, लेकिन 5.25 का आंकड़ा हमारे पास है। 10वां वादा है जीएसटी, सरल टैक्स के लिए पूरा, जैसे भारत आजाद हुआ, बस यही आखिरी वादा है। इसका तो और लिस्ट लंबी है, नहीं बोलेंगे, लेकिन इसका जीएसटी सर, जीएसटी आपको पता है कि जैसे भारत आजाद हुआ तो उसी तरह आधी रात में कर प्रणाली, कैसी सरल कर प्रणाली है कि पूछो मत। आप व्यापारी से जाके पूछ लीजिए, दुकानदार से पूछ लीजिए, परेशान है जिस तरह का जीएसटी है, जिस तरह से तंग हो रहे हैं इस जीएसटी से। और भाजपा के हमारे लोग ज़्यादा अच्छी तरह जानते हैं, व्यापारी वर्ग काफ़ी इनके साथ रहा, उस सब इनसे रोते हैं आके कि क्या हमारी गति है। ये जीएसटी का सरलीकरण भी होना चाहिए, क्योंकि सर बड़ा जरूरी है। इन्होंने रामायण की चौपाई पढ़ी सुधांशु जी ने, तो उसी सुंदरकांड की हम चौपाई पढ़ते हैं सर। सचु वैद्य गुर 3 जब, और प्रिय बोले भयास। आपका सेक्रेटरी, आपका डॉक्टर और आपका गुरु अगर डर के मारे आपके सामने आपकी तारीफ कर रहा, तो राज धर्म और देह, तो राज धर्म और देह 3 का होत बेगही नाश। इनकी चौपाई के जवाब में तुलसीदास जी की चौपाई है। अब सर सुझाव
राजीव जी, ये बात लागू कहाँ कर रहे हो? ये बात किसके बारे में कह रहे हो?
समझने की है, ये बात समझने की है। और
श्री कार्तिकेय शर्मा
सर, मेरा रह गया सुझाव तो रह गए, एक मिनट सर।
श्री कार्तिकेय शर्मा
सुनिए सर, मेरा सुझाव
सर, आई लोग द चेयर
लिख कर दे देना, ठीक। राजीव जी, you have taken 50% more time than time allocated.
Thank you, Chairman, sir.
And every time you cross the time limit, I looked at
wish to express my gratitude to you, allowing me to speak on this very important discussion.
1 second. Last 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
एक तो शेयर मार्केट से सब सारी खुशी नहीं होती है। शेयर मार्केट में जो भी हो, लेकिन पैसे का विकेंद्रीकरण होना चाहिए। कुछ लोगों के पास सिमट के नहीं रखना चाहिए, क्योंकि कहते हैं कि 10% लोगों के पास 77% वेल्थ है, वो नहीं होना चाहिए। पहला सुझाव। दूसरा, निर्यात और आयात के मुकाबले निर्यात ज़्यादा, आयात कम है, तो मेरे ख्याल से इसकी वजह से बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट, जो करंट अकाउंट डेफिसिट है, ट्रेड डेफिसिट, इस पर सब पे बहुत फर्क पड़ता है। तो सरकार से, वित्त मंत्री से अनुरोध है कि इसका ख्याल रखें कि किसी तरह से हमें निर्यात बढ़ाया जाए और आयात हमारा कम किया जाए। तीसरा, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में गडकरी जी ने बहुत अच्छा प्रयास किया है, काफ़ी अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, लेकिन जो वर्ल्ड बैंक के हिसाब से अभी $1.5 ट्रिलियन का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और बढ़ाना है। तो मेरा सरकार से सुझाव की कोशिश करनी चाहिए।
श्री कार्तिकेय शर्मा,
लास्ट,
कम ऑन।
एक तो रह गया सर,
नहीं
ईज ऑफ
Allow me to
बिजनेस,
speak on
रखिए,
this
कुछ
very
रिजर्व में
important
रखिए।
matter of discussion.
ईज ऑफ बिजनेस में क्या है कि परेशान है लोग ईडी और
देखिए,
जीएसटी वालों से, और इसके
आप
अलावा
इधर
जो
से
है,
बोल रहे हो,
उनको
कुछ रिजर्व में
ब्यूरोक्रेसी
रखिए।
से, रेड टेपिज्म से, तो इस पर सर हमें कोशिश करनी चाहिए, ईज ऑफ
Okay,
बिजनेस
Chairman,
हमें
sir.
बढ़ाना चाहिए। और
कार्तिकेय जी 3 minutes.
Sir,
Go ahead.
Sir, from inheriting an Indian economy which was slipping southwards to being painted as the global bright spot, with the Indian economy registering the fastest growth rate among large economies for two successful fiscals, and in the course for the third time in financial year 24, is a stellar achievement of the Modi government that invites deep analysis. The journey of Indian economy was steered clear through the phases of global slowdown in 2019, COVID lockdowns, commodity price steep escalation due to the war in Ukraine and global tensions, and tightening of global financial conditions. India's economy has been the fastest growing among the world's 20 largest economies for the 7 of the past 9 years. And those were only the 7 years in the past 76 years that India has achieved this distinction. India's USD 3.3 trillion GDP overtook that of the UK in the fiscal year ending March 31, 2022, making it the 5th largest economy in the world. The Indian economy, according to the IMF estimates, will emerge as the world's 3rd largest economy by 2027, hopping over Japan and Germany as its GDP crosses US $5 trillion. By 2047, India aspires to be a developed economy under the visionary leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister Modi. Sir, I would like to quote a couplet from the famous poet Wasim Barelvi. दरिया का सारा नशा उतरता चला गया, दरिया का सारा नशा उतरता चला गया, वो डुबाते रहे मुझे और मैं उभरता चला गया। दुनिया समझ में आई मगर आई देर से, कच्चा बहुत था रंग उतरता चला गया। Sir, we have achieved success in improving our GDP from 2.3 trillion in 2014 to 3.75 trillion now. On the ground, in 13-14, our per capita income was 68,000 rupees, which has now increased to 1,80,000 rupees in 22-23. In 2014, the capital expenditure was 3.9 lakh crores, and the union government under the leadership of Prime Minister has increased it to rupees 10 lakh crores by 2023. A senior member of parliament before me spoke about the issue of states. The union government has increased the allocation to the states under the various schemes from rupees 30 lakh crores during 2004 to 14 to about 100 lakh crores in the 9 years from 14 to 23. Between 2004 and 14, tax collections was 19 lakh crores, which has now increased to 70 lakh crores in the 9 years from 14 to 23. GST collection has reached rupees 1.87 lakh crores in April 2023, and monthly average GST collection is 1.69 lakh crores. Our foreign exchange reserves were 309 billion. Today they stand at 593 billion. So, sectors like hydrogen, semiconductor, electric vehicles, solar, energy, defense,
Sharma ji,
drone
please
space, mining, and
Please conclude, Sharma ji, please.
Thank you, sir.
Next speaker is GVL Narasimha Rao garu. GVL Narasimha Rao garu.
Thank you, Chairman sir. When we speak about the resurgence of Indian economy, it is important for us to reflect on India's historical economic stature and see in that trend, in that over centuries, how India has become, how over decades India has become stronger. Today, we are certainly celebrating as the 5th largest economy. This is a great achievement for the country. We have been able to, from the 10th position in 2014, in a matter of few years, we have reached the 5th largest economy position today. And a report yesterday by the S&P, it states how India is going to be the 3rd largest economy by 2030. So by the time Honorable Prime Minister completes his term in 2029 and gets ready for his fourth term, India would have become the third largest economy in the world. And if you go back a few centuries ago, in ancient India, we were the largest economy of the world. We were known as the golden bird, Sone ki chidiya, until 5th century AD. This remained India's position in the global, in the global scenario. But 1,000 years of rule by invaders, by foreign rulers, has robbed India not only of its rich wealth, it also robbed India of its confidence. So when Honorable Prime Minister took over as the Prime Minister of the country, he has given a complete new direction to India's economy. He has instilled confidence in India's growth story, and Amrit Kal has truly begun. We are certainly passing through this Amrit Kal. And Atmanirbhar Bharat is the strategy for achieving India's preeminent position in the global economy. And I would like to tell our friends from across the treasury benches, the opposition benches, I'd like them to know. In 2004, when UPA came to power, India was the 12th largest economy. They were in power for 5 years until 2009. India moved from the 12th to the 11th rank. And they remained in power for another 5 years. In those 5 years, they could take India from the 11th to only 10th rank. But look at the geometric growth experience during the rule of the Honorable Prime Minister. India, I think you have blamed it as Hindu rate of growth. You have used governments of the Congress denomination in the early years of independence have used this term Hindu growth, Hindu rate of growth, to deride Hindu religion. But during 10 years of your rule, what have you done to Indian economy? You have not been able to. You claim to have given great growth during the years of Manmohan Singh regime, but all that India could move was from the 12th rank to the 11th rank, going on to 10th rank. But Prime Minister Modi ji, in a manner of 9 years, he has taken India to the 5th rank, and in a manner of years, by the completion of his next term, we are going to be the third largest economy in the world. This is certainly a huge achievement for the country, and that is what is giving the BJP and Honorable Prime Minister and his leadership a huge fillip in India's elections. So, inflation. Our friends, I have busted their theory of growth. We gave growth. We gave a high growth economy. And I told them how India's position remained globally almost at the same level through 10 years of UPA. And let me now bust their inflation claims. During the first 5 years of Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, the average inflation rate in India was only 4.4%, well below the RBI ordained level, which is range between 4 to 6%. Look at the Congress party's performance. Look at the UPA performance. What was the inflation levels in the UPA rule? In 4 years, between 2004 and 2014, inflation levels were well below 10%. Double-digit inflation, what UPA has given this country. It was 13.9% in 2009 and 10. And under Prime Minister Modi ji, at a time when the world is experiencing one of the highest levels of inflation, India has been able to contain inflation well below even the RBI levels. Let me give you some numbers. The US inflation level is above 7%. Let me give you the exact number. 7, UK, US experienced over 7%, highest inflation in 40 years. UK is experiencing one of the highest inflations in the last 30 years. It is currently 7.9%. It was in June 2023, which is a high after 41 years. Europe is also struggling with inflation. Germany, which is Europe's largest economy, also has one of the highest inflation levels. It is only India which has not only maintained high growth during the post-COVID period, it has also maintained very, very low to moderate levels of inflation. So the friends from the Congress who claim there is high inflation must look back, because any comparisons that you do, any comparison of any performance, you have to do over time. You have to do spatially, and you have to do cross-sectionally. And time series performance clearly tells us how Congress governments have given only inflation and not a real growth. Let me give some more numbers. One of the highest levels of inflation in India's post-independent India were 19.3% in 91-92 under a Congress leadership, 95-96, 12.8%, and under Srimati Indira Gandhi, it even touched double digit. It crossed even 30% for 2 years. So this is the Congress story. So every time Congress comes to power, they bring inflation along, and it is only the BJP-led governments, the NDA governments under Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, which have given relief to the common man. Jab Congress aati hai, tab महंगाई लाती hai. I think this would be a nice slogan that would go along with them, because in Karnataka, where they came to power only in early this year, in May this year, soon after they came to power, they hiked milk prices by 3 rupees per litre. They hiked electricity charges, though through a very indirect mechanism, by increasing fuel and power purchase cost elements in this. They have increased every commodity that a common man needs for his survival. So the Congress Party's only guarantee is महंगाई guarantee, is inflation guarantee, and nothing else. So if you look at our performance, India's GDP growth for the last year was 7.2%, the fastest growing economy of all the major economies in the world. And this has been possible. This high growth trajectory has become possible because of a measured response, because of a judicious economic policies that the government pursued, mainly during the COVID and post-COVID era. And friends from the opposition, all of them claim that India's economy can only be revived by putting money directly into the hands of the people, by giving helicopter money. But that kind of any country, all countries that have followed that prescription have actually failed. And these are the countries which are experiencing one of the highest inflation levels in half a century. Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji's economic vision and economic policy is today being hailed as the best in the entire world. What has made this kind of an economic transformation, this kind of a turnaround possible? Let me give a few illustrations. Let me cite a few cases. One, the Atmanirbhar vision. I think COVID, which is a challenging period for the entire globe, was used to unveil a new economic vision that was Atmanirbhar Bharat vision, that has actually helped India transform its economy. Also, our governance principle, Prime Minister's governance principle of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, actually translated into money reaching to the most needy people and ensuring that they do not suffer the hardships of the COVID period, and they are able to lead a very happy and a healthy life. Second, a digital revolution. I think the whole world is overawed by the success of Indian economic digital revolution. Today, in October 2023, we have touched an all-time high of 11.4 billion UPI transactions, crossing even 10 billion transactions that we got successively for the 3 months. And this resulted in a digital transaction of over 17.16 lakh crore. So this certainly was a contributor. It transformed Indian economy into a cash-based economy, into a digital economy. Clearing the banking mess, because what the UPA left for Narendra Modi ji was a banking sector in complete mess. This government has not only cleaned up the banking sector, it has actually infused dynamism into the sector. Today, the Indian banking sector is one of the best performing banking sectors anywhere in the world. While many banks, even central banks, have experienced difficulties abroad, Indian economy, Indian banking sector is going through its best periods. Gross NPAs and net NPAs are at their decadal lows. And public sector banks have their resources have now been used for acting as pillars of Jan Kalyan. In fact, public sector banks have recorded profits of over 1 lakh crore in the last financial year, and that money has been plowed into financing the welfare of the poor. Also, we have seen how a transparent regime like the GST, which is a huge contribution of Honorable Prime Minister. GST collections are at their highest levels. 1.72 lakh crore was the GST collection in October 2023. This is the second highest ever. A few months ago, a year ago, 1 lakh crore also was considered to be a very important milestone to be achieved. And today, we have crossed 1.73 lakh crore. This clearly shows the buoyancy in the Indian economy. It shows the resurgence in the Indian economy. And anyone who disputes it can only get their validation in these numbers. There is also surge in direct tax income, direct tax revenues. The direct tax revenues are 10.6 lakh crore till 9th November, as against 10.6 lakh crore previous year during the same period, which has registered a near 22% healthy growth. This clearly shows even the net growth in corporate income tax collections shows a 12.5% rise. So there is a resurgence in the Indian economy across all the sectors. The investments, both the private investment and the foreign direct investment, have shown a big improvement. The foreign direct investment during the UPA 10 years, during the UPA 10 years was $304 billion, which has more than doubled to $628 billion so far. This is an increase of more than 100%. So with this kind of a performance, the country is poised to achieve its economic goals and very soon to become third largest economy in the world and going back to achieving India's ancient glory under Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. Yehi Modi ji ki guarantee hai. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Next speaker is Dr. Ami Yazni. Ji, Madam.
Hearing the Treasury benches speak about the state of the economy, and they speak only from 2014 onwards, I would like to remind them that we have to go back to 1991 when we had the new economic policy. That is the point when the borders for economy were opened for foreign investment to come in the country. When foreign investment policy was taken, at that time, Dr. Manmohan Singh ji was the finance minister. I would just like to point out a few things before I just come to the main 2 points. Structural reforms were ushered in, and the structural reforms take a long time to result, and it took a long time. It takes always, you look at the world economy in any way. So this 1991 was the starting point. So we may have to refer to these points and not just jump to that we have become independent only in 2014. Now coming to the state of economy today, 3 main factors, 3 main areas which I would like to say in a short time. First is the farmer section, the agriculture sector. Some of the data is not even in the formal economy because they are landless farmers who are working on farms. That productivity is not reflecting in the formal economy. That farmer section or that particular sector is devoid of any reforms today. They are wanting some kind of reforms which is not reflecting in the economy, and we are seeing landless farmers. We are seeing farmers who are wanting some kind of reforms, and they want credit, they want equipments and several other things. The second sector which is very important and which nobody is talking about is the MSME sector. The MSME sector has got 630 lakh units which are micro units. Post COVID, quite a few high number, I do not want to go into the data of 15,000 or 20,000 have closed down. Where is the credit facility? You talk about schemes, but have these schemes percolated to those units? Have those units revived? Have the labor force been able to re-enter these particular units? Whether the technology transfer, and you are continuously talking about comparing with Germany, Europe, UK, US, and you want to take only talk about foreign. Have you tried to look internally, locally? You are giving food, ration to more than 50% of the population. 80 crores people are getting free ration. What about employment? Coming to employment later on, back to MSME sector. Where are the credit facilities? Where is the credit which is required to revive a unit and give them life? And this MSME sector is the backbone of the economy. And you are not speaking about this backbone of the economy. You are not speaking of the MSME sector. You are not talking about technology transfer to this particular section. And you are not even having the right data on the MSME, that whether they are surviving, they are going to revive, or they are going to see that the economy gets strengthened. Sir, the third is the gig workers. We have not got a workforce which is regular. They don't even get retirement perks. They don't get any health care because they are gig workers. You talk about these gig workers, they are not regular workers because industry does not employ them. You have graduates who come out of universities because you have got tremendous universities flourishing, private universities. And you have got different economic education policies for these universities. The graduates who come out are unemployed youth. Why are the youngsters of our country going abroad? I do not want to give the numbers that form the diaspora outside, but what about looking internally at our economy? All the data which is coming is foreign direct investment, export, but then you have to look at what has happened to export and import. The export has gone down, you are importing. So where is Make in India? Where is Make in India? And let me tell you, sir, all these schemes which they are naming, they were started by UPA. This National Manufacturing Policy 2011 became Make in India. Now, if you are making in India, where are the products? What are you doing? Why is there so much import of these components? Why are you not manufacturing? Why are you not employing your youth? Why are you not equipping them so that the economy becomes sound? And you go on talking about third largest economy. So let me tell you, sir, that our country became the third largest economy in purchasing power parity in 2011. This indicates that India's overall economic output, adjusted for the relative cost of living, was the third highest in the world. This shows that it implies that a higher standard of living for Indian citizens. Today, we talk about poverty, but we do not have poverty alleviating programs. On the contrary, we are making them handicapped by giving rations. We are not equipping them, we are not empowering them to become able-bodied people who can be employed. You are not creating employment opportunities, but you want to talk about schemes that you have renamed. So in the end, I would like to say that you have to look at the global hunger index. Where do we stand? You have to look at malnutrition for children. Our children are being wasted, stunted growth. You have to look at female infanticide. You have to look at mortality for children. What are we doing in the healthcare system? So when you talk about the state of the economy, you don't only have to talk about comparing with other countries. You have to look inward. When you make your economy strong, then and then you can speak about the state of the economy and not the ruling dispensation's head or people who are manning certain ministries. It's not their work. It's the work of the scheme. And it was from 1991 onwards that the institutions were put in place. These institutions acted as regulatory mechanisms. Where are those institutions? Why are these institutions not getting accountable for, not performing? These are these non-performing assets, apart from the non-performing assets of the bank. We have not been able to bring that money back. Forget about the black money you talked about. Forget about 15 lakhs going to each one's account. We have not been able to say anything about that. The ruling dispensation has got some kind of a fixation. They are living post-2014. They forget their own childhood, that they studied in good educational institutions. They don't give credit to their own parents, their own grandparents who got freedom to this country and are only having a straight-jacketed formula post-2014. But what have you done after 2014? Where is that education required? Where is the skill which is required to equip our youngsters to see that they become good employers, they can also create employment for other people? Where is that economy's backbone? MSME, where have you done that revival? You talk about portals, digital India, where is that computer education? And what are these portals doing? The data on Udyam portal shows that the industries that closed down, the MSME, there is no detail. The licenses got cancelled. They couldn't revive. And they're all sitting. What about the cooperatives you want to start at the local level, at the village level? They don't get revived. You want to give employment to women. Where are the women getting employment? They have not got a re-entry in the workforce. They cannot get back in the workforce post-COVID. They're sitting at home. So what are you doing for empowerment of women? You may bring the reservation bill with a caveat. But where is the empowerment for women? How will she become economically empowered? You are not giving her health care. You are not giving her meals which are nutritious. So, sir, these are the factors which need a proper data. Where is the data, sir? There is no data. Where are those institutions providing data on all these indicators? These indicators will tell the state of the economy of this country, not who is manning the country or who are manning the institutions. And so one last point, sir.
Please
that
continue.
Unless and until we change the game, we cannot succeed by changing the names. You may change the name of all the policies, of all the schemes, but if you cannot perform, you become a non-performing asset. The state of the economy, the students, the youngsters of this country are reading, they're watching, they're looking at all the Nehruvian era and the Rajiv Gandhi era for computerization, for all kinds of digital work which is now happening on that base.
Please
was already
conclude that,
created.
Prime Minister.
And that is why the state of the economy is not as the way it is projected
Please.
by the ruling dispensation.
Please.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Next speaker is Shri Jose K. Mani ji. 3 minutes.
So the economic well-being of our citizens transcends political affiliations. It is a matter of national urgency. The economic indicator unfortunately paint a concerning picture. While the government claims economic growth, the rising unemployment rate tell a different story, impacting the lives of millions. So, to assess whether an economy is growing, to assess economic activity, to find out whether the economy is robust, we need to assess the lower strata of people, which consist of the farmers, laborers, and workers, whether the standard of living has improved. And if you go in the plight of these strata of people, we find that they are struggling for existence, they are struggling for survival, they are struggling to make the ends meet. And not only that, we find that from the data all here, we find that the gap between the haves and have-nots have increased. And about the 40% of the national wealth consists of even 1% of the population. That shows that the wealth is being amassed by a smaller portion of the population. So this really shows that the government is pro-corporate, pro-industry. There is nothing wrong in pro-industry, but it should not be at the expense of the farmers, the lower strata of the people. So when you take the agrarian crisis continues to hunt our farmers, suicide and distress in the rural sector persist. According to the National Crime Records Bureau, it states that the report states that 154 people, that is the farmers and daily wage laborers in India, commit suicide. It's a huge number. I think it is the largest in the world. So definitely there's something wrong with the system. We need to find, and really when you go into in deep, we can find that the economy, when the activities are there, it is not translated into the farmers.
Please conclude, Jose.
Yeah.
Please conclude, Jose K. Mani, please.
Sir,
Please.
when the live example, I can tell you that the rubber farmers of Kerala, sir, you know the rubber farmers.
Please,
Sir,
conclude.
sir, 1 minute, sir, 1 minute, sir. Sir, it is a strategic product. That's why in 1947 the Rubber Act was enacted and the rubber board, electron rubber board was introduced. But we know that the price
conclude.
of
Your
the natural
is
rubber
over.
can be
Please,
improved
Maniji, please.
only at the policy of the central government. If there is no, we find that any states where is no political gain by the BJP, they will not give any development at all.
Please.
It is discrimination.
Please, Maniji,
we need
please
to
conclude.
see the nation as one. If there is no political gain, no development, if the farmers are not helped.
Please.
So have a heart, actually help the rubber farmers. It is for the nation's development. Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Sri Mahesh Jatmalani ji, please. Not present. Not present. Next speaker is Sri Vaiko ji, MDMK.
Mr. Vice Chairman, sir.
3 minutes, Vaiko ji, please.
I'm so thankful to you for giving me this opportunity to participate in the discussion on the economic situation in the country. India's current GDP is $3.75 trillion US, which the present BJP government claims it would go to $5 trillion in 2025. But who will be benefited by this growth? It is a jobless growth. Unemployment is increasing. As of October 2023, it is 10.505%. The educated unemployed youth in the country are struggling to get employment opportunities. We are witnessing every year 1 crore job loss in our country, and the wages of the workers are falling drastically. We are witnessing the continuing agrarian crisis. You have promised doubling the farmers' income, but unfortunately, farmers' income did not get doubled, but at the same time, suicides of the farmers got doubled. Our banks are in deep crisis. What is the remedy that they are putting forward? The bank NPAs are rising, and the government is providing further concessions to the corporates to write off their loans, but they are not prepared to reduce or write off the loans of farmers, students, and small entrepreneurs in the MSME sector. This country has also faced inflationary pressures over the years, influencing the current unemployment rate in India. High inflation rates can erode the purchasing power of consumers, leading to reduced demand for goods and services. This can have a cascading effect on business, resulting in cost-cutting measures, including layoffs and hiring and firing jobs, leading to higher unemployment rates. Already there is a decline growth of 4.3% against 15.5% year-over-year in trade. Transport, hotels and communications industry. As I said, inflationary pressures lead to price rise in the essential commodities. Raw cotton prices increase in the inputs for agriculture and livestock. Higher GST rate for common items are reducing the purchasing power of the common man. The structure of public sector undertakings in your regime is crumbling. One by one, the public sector unit is sold to the corporate giants. When the crude oil is sold at a lower price in the international market, I am not able to understand why the union government is not reducing petroleum retail price to the common people. The price of LPG has been increased manifold in the last 2 years, and it is now beyond the affordability of the poor people. You have a scheme called Ujjwala, but how many people are registered in that scheme? And in that also you have restricted the number of cylinders in the year. So the government should bring down the price of petrol, diesel and LPG, keeping the interest of the common man. The spinning industry in Tamil Nadu has been facing unprecedented losses for several months. For the first time in the last 20 years, exports of yarn and textiles have declined by around 28%. A mill having about 10,000 spindles would produce 2,500 kilograms of yarn per day, which is incurring a loss of 1 lakh per day. The structure of state finance is also very much affected. After the introduction of GST, the revenue has come down. There is no proper distribution of GST collections to the states. The states which are supporting the ruling party at the center are given a favorable position as compared to the states which are ruled by the opposition parties. Our state, Tamil Nadu, is not getting its rightful due from the, from the GST collections despite demands from the state government. The recent Big cyclone has created havoc on the coastal districts of Tamil Nadu, apart from Andhra Pradesh. Our fishermen have lost their livelihood for the last 6 days. Their boats and nets have been washed away. The farmers have lost their standing crops due to waterlogging. In the city of Chennai, the whole city was submerged due to unprecedented heavy rains for the last 2 days. Though the state government is doing its best by providing shelter and food at the community centers for the people living in the low-lying areas, it is the due fury of mutual nature, which is a big challenge. Conclude. The union government should rescue and relief materials and financial assistance to the state without delay.
Very important point, man.